Is your life dictated by your past? In this episode, you will discover how your current life is a direct reflection of your past experiences, and we're going to dive deep into how your life is unconsciously affected by your past. And you will also discover a very powerful technique to neutralize the past that I specifically use with my clients and that I've used on myself for years. So stay tuned. Hello, visionaries. Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, where you can create the life you desire by tapping into your inner wisdom. I'm your host, Padma Ali. I'm widely known in the field of psychology to create long-lasting transformation. And now I'm here to help you create the life you desire using a combination of neuropsychology and ancient healing practices. This podcast is for you, evolved, overachieving leader who's ready to unlock your highest potential. I'm here to guide you through a process of self-discovery to be the creator of your destiny. And you can do all of that by just taking aligned actions, tapping into the power of your brain, your inner wisdom, and ancient practices. So stay tuned, folks. I am so delighted you are here. What's up, visionaries? It's episode number 58 of the Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, and this is your host, Padma Ali. And this episode, I strongly invite you to connect with your own life, connect with where in your life are you still being held by your past experiences. And even though I'm referring to the past, and this episode is titled, Is Your Life Dictated by Your Past? And a Powerful Way to Neutralize the Past, I personally don't find value in excavating the past. This is one of the main reasons I stopped doing therapy, because I feel that when we keep looking at the past of why this happened and why I did this and why did this, how the past is affecting me, it keeps us trapped in the past. However, I go to the past when it's rooted in the present, when the issues are rooted in the present. Something is happening, you're feeling triggered, you're feeling it's impacting you. And those are the times I trace it back to the past so that we can go and clear the past from an energetic level. And I'm going to be talking a lot about energetics in here, energy imprints. But more than anything, I'm also going to be talking about a particular tool that I learned in my therapy days. So therapy does have a place. But this tool is extraordinarily powerful in allowing space to explore the particular issues that is keeping you trapped from the past. This tool, I use it as a deconditioning tool for the present experiences. So before we dive into this tool, I invite you to look at your current life. Look at all aspects of your life. Everything. You hear me talk about this a lot. And the reason I do that is because I look at every single aspect and see if there's balance, there's equilibrium, there is harmony. Because even if one aspect of your life is out of balance, it is going to impact everything else. You can't, if you have a really successful career, but you have a crappy relationship, it's really going to impact your career at some point. Because you are the same person in all those areas. And so, I invite you to look at all aspects of your life. And anything and everything that you see in your life is a reflection of your inner world. And often you may already notice and realize this about your life, that your inner world is often based from past experiences. Our past dictates how we look at our present. If you're just learning to ride a bicycle and you've fallen off the bicycle a couple of times, there's a part of you that's going to anticipate falling off the bicycle. It's natural because that's how the brain is programmed to function. It wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you in that survival mode because that's what the brain is here to do. It's like, keep you safe, make sure nothing bad happens. And it's a trap. So, I invite you to look at how is your current life being reflected based on your inner world. Say, for example, you desire a new position at work and you want to just change a job, or you want to get a new position in your same company. Or maybe you want to start your own company. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. The brain immediately goes into, I've never done this before. I don't know how to do this. And some part of you is going to keep you in that safe zone. There may be another part of you that's going to be saying, you can do this. You've done other things that you have not had experience before. And it's going to motivate you to get that life experience that you're desiring. And this is how, and you know what I'm talking about because you probably experienced this in your own life. There's excitement. There's a part of you that's excited about this new venture, and there's a part of you that's terrified of taking that next step. And all of this dictates your current experience. And what often happens is that our past unconsciously dictates the present and the future, which is why so many people either remain stuck or they make progress, but the progress is incremental. It's really slow. It's really tiny. A little bit better, a little bit more than last year, but not monumental progress, not enormous transformation, which is exactly what you're actually capable of. But your brain, your thoughts are so darn powerful that it has convinced you that you're not powerful, that you can't have what you want. It's really incredible when you can take a step back and observe how your thoughts have kept you trapped, how your thoughts are actually telling you that you're not powerful enough to manifest or have anything in life that you want, because there's limitless possibilities. Limitless. But we have convinced ourselves that this is all that we can do. And this is where this tool comes into play. In my work with my clients, I explore different tools with them. I teach my clients different tools because the more tools you have in your toolbox, you can pull these tools out when you're facing something. Situations in your life are going to happen. Circumstances are going to happen. Even when you have massive transformation, there are going to be thoughts that are limiting. There are going to be beliefs from the past that will creep up. These things don't really go away. You stop paying attention to them. You stop giving them importance. That's what happens. It becomes smaller. Those neural pathways become tinier and tinier and less walked than the other neural pathways. And this is where these tools come very handy. I've done personal development on myself for decades at this point, decades. And yet there are still days I wake up or I have experiences where my old beliefs come up, where I'm consumed by blind spots. And these are the times I use these tools on myself, because the less time you spend in the old patterns, the faster you can create a different life experience. And this tool, which I found so much value in this. I've modified this tool in combination with energy work because this is just how I use this particular tool. This tool is called parts work, or you can even call it inner child work. It is something that I was trained when I was a psychotherapist. I learned this particular tool called parts work from a program called Internal Family Systems. And what the reason I love parts work, and you heard me reference this right in the beginning of this episode, right? There's a part of you that's excited about the future. There's a part of you that's very scared about what this transformation would mean, or how is it going to unfold in your life? And the reason I find this tool really valuable is because it automatically, when you use the word part, this part of me, it reminds your brain that it is not all of you. So if you look at someone, right, if someone is talking to you, if someone is struggling, if you hear their language, if you hear their words, what they're often going to say is, I am stuck. I'm struggling. I can't get ahead. I don't know how to get out of my anxiety. Right? If you hear, it's very big statements, it's generalized statements, they're consumed in it, they're caught up in it, they have no space from that. And when you feel really caught up in that vortex of those debilitating thoughts and feelings and emotions, you can't get out of that vortex. It's very difficult to do that. But if you now hear me when I say, there's a part of you that is anxious. There's a part of me that is struggling. There's a part of me that is stuck. Notice, it automatically gives you space. It tells you that there's more than one way to see the situation. Let me ask you this. How many times have you gone? Maybe, it's getting to be closer to the summertime right now, at least in the northern hemisphere. And how many times have you gone to an ice cream store and went, I want vanilla and I want chocolate ice cream. I want both. Right? There's a part of you that wants vanilla. There's a part of you that wants chocolate. It's not right or wrong. It just is. That is our inner world. But we don't look at it like that. Most people get trapped in, I'm stuck. I can't get ahead. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. I'm this. I'm that. And the moment you say these words, it becomes your reality. And why are you saying those words? Because of past experiences. Something in your past happened that made this experience, current experience, feel like I'm trapped. I can't get ahead. I'm going to have a really bad experience with the relationship because in the past I've not had a successful relationship, right? These are what the brain starts telling you. There's a quote that I read. I think it's a quote by Rumi. It said, the words are the drippings of the mind. Words are the drippings of the mind. That is extremely powerful, isn't it? It's powerful because the words are just reflecting how you're feeling on the inside. And when you can train your brain to go, this part of me feels this way, this part of me is struggling, this part of me is needing this, it immediately changes everything. And I'm just giving you the overview of the tool. I'll tell you more about how you can use it in your own life. Even when you're having a disagreement with your partner, if you were to say, so imagine this scenario. You're having a disagreement with your partner and you're going, you did this and you didn't do that, and you showed up late, and you said you would come home on time, and blah blah blah, whatever you're arguing with. But instead, and you say, I'm so angry at you, right? This is what you're saying. If you shifted that and you said, there's a part of me that gets very frustrated when you don't show up on time. See how that lands for you. That's what happens. It immediately, your partner is less likely to get defensive because you're not saying you suck, you are a horrible person for showing up late, because that's what your partner probably hears, right? But instead, when you're able to say, hey, there's a part of me that gets so frustrated when you don't show up on time, when you say you would do this and you don't do that, there's a less accusation. There's more room for going back and forth, and there is not, your partner is less likely to get defensive. Have you seen that movie? First of all, I love movies as a reference for for so many learnings, because movies, they have so much wisdom and knowledge. It's almost like whoever's making the movie is like tapping into, not all of them, some movies, they're able to tap into some other realm of consciousness, and they bring in these aspects, and I'm blown away by some of the things that I've seen. Like the Kung Fu Panda. I'm so much into all these Disney movies because of my kids these days. The Kung Fu Panda, the master. Oh my God, I'm blanking out on his name. The little fox guy, master. He says, the turtle, the grandmaster. So, oh my God, if you have watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched the movie, go watch it, because I can't remember the exact things. But there are certain things he says that are like, wow, I'm blown away. I'm like, how did you channel that wisdom? So the movie Inside Out, if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you watch it, because this parts work that I'm talking about is very much reflected in that movie. It's very powerful to watch and see, like, wow, this is what happens in the inner workings of your brain when you have experiences in your life. This is what happens. This is how our brain processes. It's brilliant. It's really brilliant. And I love that movie as an example of how to explore what parts of you are present. So let's go back to where we started this whole episode. Looking at different aspects of your life and seeing, is it exactly where I want it to be? And if it isn't where you want it to be, it's an opportunity to dig deeper and see what is the gap? What needs to happen in order for you to create the life experience you want? And when you dig deeper, right, this is where we can see, where am I feeling stuck? Say you're talking about your relationship or your career, or you're discovering self-discovery of your own self, or you're struggling with anxiety, whatever that might be. We can dig deeper to go into where it started from, what energetic imprints are there that can be cleared out. Now, what are energetic imprints? You'll hear me talk about energetic imprints a lot, because I use that. That's one of my core pillars of how I do this work, which is energy healing. Energetic imprints. Every experience that you have leads an energetic imprint. Some of them are very profound because they've left an impact on you. Again, watch that movie Inside Out. You can see the energetic imprints being formed. Anything that happens in your life from the time, especially when you're a child, even in utero, it can happen. This is not me making it up. Like, you can read research on how things that are happening in utero impact somebody in their adult life. In the questionnaire that I have for my clients when I start working with them, I have a question. What was your birth experience? What were you told about your birth experience? Sometimes the birth experience can have an unconscious impact in the current experience that you're having in life. So what happens often when you're a child, right? From 0 to 7 or 8, we're walking, talking unconscious. We're literally like sponges. This is why most children learn so much. You may think they're not paying attention, but they are, they might be drawing or playing, but they are hearing exactly everything that you are speaking here. When I was growing up, I used to speak 1, 2, 3, 4 languages. I was counting how many languages. I used to speak 4 languages all at once. I've forgotten them now. I've forgotten at least one of them. I still speak 3 languages. But if I could speak them fluently, and I could go back and forth between them. Because I grew up at home, we would speak a particular language, and I learned the national language in India, which is Hindi. And then we used to live in a particular part of India where they would speak a completely different language. So I learned 3 different languages and obviously spoke English. So I learned 4 languages all at once. How is that even possible, right? Your brain is like a sponge. It absorbs everything when you are little. That's why you have children who are able to pick up so much faster. I see this generation, they pick up things so much faster. They're exposed to so many things. I see like 1-year-old children, the way they use iPhones. Like it's crazy how they're able to maneuver these things. They're absorbing everything. So when you have an experience as a child, say someone bullied you, someone didn't play with you, or your parents said something or did something, and you, as a child, you don't have the cognitive ability to make sense of that experience. And we as humans are meaning-making machines. This is how we function. We need to make meaning. We need to look at patterns. This is how we live and process information. So when something doesn't make sense to you, as a child, you're going to make your own meaning, own story about that experience. And that also leaves an energetic imprint. Now you become older, and that experience is forgotten in your conscious mind, but in your unconscious mind, it's still there. Something similar happens. So let's take an example. Let's take a very concrete example. Say you've grown up, or you've grown up in a household where there's a lot of yelling, or there's one of your parents is very authoritarian, and so you feel there's what is that called? Goodness. So if there's a lot of yelling, you feel really small. It's not a safe environment. That's what I was looking for. I was trying to rack my brains for what is the word I was looking for. It's not a safe environment. You grow up, you manage to figure things out. You grow up, you go to college, fine, you get a job. Now, in your job, one of your bosses tends to have a louder voice. Now, your conscious brain cannot see this, but your unconscious brain, if there's even a little bit of similarity between how your boss talks to you, the tone or the decibel or anything that was similar to the parent who was in that, I'm going to use the word abusive place, your system is going to react to that. Because your unconscious mind cannot differentiate between the past and the present. Cannot. It's going to immediately have that reaction towards that person. And when you're a child, if you felt powerless and you shut down, that's exactly what you're going to do in your current life. Now, as a child, you felt very powerless and you learned to be a bully back, or you learned to be like, I'm going to be powerful so you can't bully me. Now you're going to do that in your current situation. You're going to become like that, right? So you've learned either to shut down or the fight or flight, the very classic fight or flight response. Now, this is what I mean by energetic imprint. It's literally like, if your hands are sweaty and you touch a window pane or you touch window glass or you touch a mirror and you take the palm away of your hand away, you will see the residue. You will still see an imprint. It won't be very strong, but you can see the imprint of the hand. And that, when it's not cleared, you are going to react to people in your life and in your current life the way you might have reacted in the past. Can you relate to that? If you have had a tendency let me give you my own example. So when I was growing up, my mom would often get anxious or overwhelmed, but I could not see it, right? As a child, I did not see that. She was juggling many different things. She was very young. She got married when she was 17. It's a different culture, different things. She had my sister very young. She had me very young. And it was overwhelming for her. Now, as a child, I didn't know that. And I've mentioned in the other episodes previously how I would have big emotions. She didn't know what to do with that. It would only make her overwhelmed. Hey, even at almost 39 or 40 when I had my children, like so late in life, I was still like, oh my God, like having kids is overwhelming sometimes. It's a lot. It's a big life change. And when you're that much younger, some people are cut out to be parents, some people are not. Like it took me a long time to be a parent. And I didn't realize that as a child. All I saw was, oh, I have big emotions. When I get that big, very big emotions, my parents shut down. They don't know what to do. I didn't know that they didn't know what to do. All I saw was, oh, it's not okay to have big emotions because they are not responsive. So when that happens, the way I processed that was something is wrong with me, right? And then I also learned to be overwhelmed by watching them. So in my adult life, something would happen. My car would break down. If I lost a wallet, I immediately would go into the state of panic and overwhelmed. It almost would be like that 5-year-old part of me would kick in, be like, I don't know what to do here. Helplessness would set in. I learned to manage it. I learned to work with it. And then when I learned more about parts work and I did work on that, and I also did energy work, I cleared all of these things out. So it no longer goes back that quickly. There are still times it does, but I can come out of it very, very, very fast. It's nanoseconds sometimes to come out of it. So this is just how those parts of us work. And when you can recognize, oh, this is just an overwhelmed part of me. What is the need of this part of me? If you get angry, what is the need of this angry part? Instead of giving into it and lashing out, if that's been your pattern with your partner, ask, what does this part of me need? And when you can understand that, right? When you can really get it, like get what is the need of that part of you and meet that part of you, it will change how you are in your current situation. So say you've had experiences in your life where you have felt left out, where you feel like you don't belong. Okay, in your current life, you go, oh, nobody wants to hang out with me, or I get sidelined, or I don't get recognized, or, at work, I might do the same job as someone else, but they get the recognition and I don't, right? This is your current life experience. If you dig deeper, you will notice that this is familiar to you. You've had other experiences in your life where you have felt that way. And if you trace it back, you can trace it back to childhood. You can trace it back to maybe even in past lives. We're not going to go there right now, but I am just inviting and putting and planting seeds for you to think about, oh, it started back then. And as meaning-making machines, as a part of you that decided that maybe something is wrong with you. That's why people are not treating you well. Maybe that part of you decided, you know what? It's the color of my skin. You know what? It's because I'm too loud. You know what? It's because I'm too soft. Like you may have made all those stories around that part of you. And that part of you continues to play a role in today's life. I am not saying that those experiences are not happening. Say you felt left out or you're not being recognized, say at work. It's not like you're making this up, but this is happening for a reason. And it's happening because that part of you is still present. And we all know this, or you may or may not know this. We create our life experiences. We create life circumstances. And there's something to learn from every experience you have. So when this part of you kicks in, instead of immediately reacting and going, this is happening again, like these people are not treating me well and I hate these people, whatever you do, instead of going down that spiral, start to notice, does this part of me need? Oh, this part of me needs to feel recognized. This part of me needs to feel valued. Okay, I can't ask other people to do that for me because that's a slippery slope. Can I see my own value? Can I see that, I have done a good job? Can I value my own self? Can I say to this part of me, and if you trace it back, and so I often ask this question too of my clients, how old is this part of you? And the first answer that comes, like, that is how old that part of you is. And to give that part of you the need to meet those needs. And when you do that consistently over time, there will be more trust in your system that, I don't need to rely on external validation to feel better about myself. And we all know that that's a very slippery slope. When we're looking for external validation, it is a slippery slope. So when you can meet those needs, it changes how you feel about your current situation. It no longer has that same grasp on you. And I invite you to breathe and stop and pause. Like, this is requiring you to slow down. Slowing down is always so helpful. And sometimes all it does, if you're in a situation, right, your partner says something, this parts work plays out beautifully in partnerships. Anytime you're triggered by your partner. I've mentioned this story before when my husband and I first got together, and I would call him and he would say hello in a particular tone. My bristles I would get into attack mode immediately, because in my mind, I would interpret that tone of voice to be, he doesn't want to talk to me, or I'm not important. This was the conclusion I came to, because there's a particular tone he would use, and that tone I associated with, I don't have space in this relationship from my past experiences. And the poor guy was at work. He's busy, and he's not thinking about what is happening, but he's just like, oh, what do you want? Like, what do you need right now? He's in the middle of something. So we had to work through that, and I had to explain why I was getting triggered. When I did my own work, I could explain that. I could share with him why this was a trigger and what I needed from him. What I needed from him was, if he was busy, to not pick up the phone. Right? Or to just tell me, you know what, this is not a good time for us to talk. That's all I needed. But I was able to advocate for that only when I paid attention to what does that part of me need. And he could or he could not do that. He doesn't need to give in to my request, but it's an opportunity to speak up about your needs. So this gets played out in relationships many, many times, probably all the time. So start to notice that too. And as you play around with it and you have breakthroughs, I would love to hear about it. So please share with me on Instagram. Just take a screenshot of this and Let me know where you're listening to. What are your takeaways from this? What has made an impact for you? Because that is also going to help you share when you talk about these things. You may or may not realize that when you can share these things, first of all, it helps other people. Like I'm sharing these things and I know it's helpful for you as a listener and how you can apply to your own life. And this is an opportunity to also help others. So please share with me on Instagram, tag me. And share this episode with your friends and family. I'm sure they'll find benefit. My mom was telling me the other day that she's like, wow, I really like listening to your episodes. I really like listening to your podcast. And she's well into her 60s, right? And so it can help anybody at any age. So again, like one of the pieces about the parts work is how I do it. I also do energetic work to clear the imprints of it. And for that, obviously I can't do that in this episode, but that's another way. The combination of energy work and parts work is really, really powerful to clear this from the roots. So then it doesn't have the same grip. It's like the tree analogy I've given in other episodes, right? Like when you cut off the roots, the branches are less likely to grow that fast, or they're not going to grow. So this is very, very helpful when you can start doing that. So your takeaway is to notice. First of all, take an inventory of your life. Look at different aspects. Notice where you're feeling stuck. Ask yourself what part of you is getting stuck or whatever you haven't achieved or where you want to be. And ask what is the need of that part of you. What does that part of you need? And how can you meet it? And if you have questions, please tag me on Instagram, DM me on Instagram, send me an email. I would love to hear, because these things are so incredibly, I'm here to help. I'm here to give you value. And like I've said before, like this is my way of giving back to the community, because I know these episodes are very transformative. So please share with me or ask me questions. I'm here to help. And as we wrap up this episode, I also invite you to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn, especially on Instagram, because I do a lot of live videos there. I'm starting to interview other people. My goal is to bring as much value to you as I possibly can. So find me on Instagram. It's just @Padma Ali. And it's a great way to connect and also hear other experiences from other people, because I obviously connect with other people who are similar in the frequency and vibrational level, and I'm bringing their experience to you as well. So please find me there. I would love to connect with you. All right, my friends, I will connect with you in the next episode. And the next episode is all about shifting your emotions. How to shift your emotions to accomplish success. And I'm very excited for that. And I'm so excited to share that with you. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for listening. I have a request for you. If you found value, chances are that your friends and family will too. So if you can leave a positive review on iTunes, it will help reach so many more people. And if you have any topics or questions you would like me to feature, please send them to support@padmaali.com. And lastly, please share your takeaways and breakthroughs with me on Instagram @Padma Ali. Thank you so much for tuning in.